English speakers who, English being the first language, we were very lazy, you know. We really struggled. I spent my whole life trying to learn French. And all I know is voudrez-vous sortir avec moi ce soir. I remember, I learned that as a teenager. Yeah, we're very lazy when it comes to learning languages. I'm actually from Ireland, and I can't even speak Irish, you know, because I grew up learning English. I can speak a little bit. Okay, so welcome to our little program this afternoon. As Gaura Prabhu said, it's our Sunday feast. Actually, when it was first established, the first Sunday feast was, actually I'm not sure the exact date, but it was sometime in the summer of July, but sometime in the summer of 1966. So this feast has been going for about, not here in Copenhagen, but this feast is in different parts of the world has been going for about 50 years. It's nearly 50 years old. And it was started by this gentleman here that you see. His name is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and he started it. And he actually, when he started this feast, he called it the Love Feast, the Sunday Love Feast. So we'll talk a little bit about love in a few minutes. But first we'll do something very unusual for all the regular people who are here. We'll do something very unusual. We'll chant Hare Krishna. Actually, because you're here for the first time, oh, there we are. What I'm going to chant is actually on that wall up there. It's probably on the wrong wall. Yeah. But, oh, it's there as well, is it? Oh, no. Okay. But that's what we're going to chant. It's very simple. There's actually only 3 words. Hare, Krishna and Rama. And just to let you know very quickly, the word Hare is like an invocation, and it's kind of like asking for us to be able to chant these other 2 words and the full mantra as best as we possibly can. It's like an appreciation and an invocation to the mantra. The second word, Krishna, means the most beautiful, all-attractive person. The most beautiful. You're understanding me, right? You speak. Okay. So the most beautiful, all-attractive person. So it's a very nice name. If I go home to my wife and I call her Krishna, you know, it's a nice thing that I say you're the most beautiful, all-attractive person. And if she says to me, oh, you're also the most beautiful, all-attractive person, then that's nice too. She never says that. So that's what Krishna means, the most beautiful, all-attractive person. And the third word, Rama, means the reservoir of all pleasure. The reservoir of all pleasure. So all of us want to be happy. None of us want to be miserable or sad. We all want to be happy. And it's understood that by chanting this mantra, and in the case of this particular word, Rama, that whatever pleasure that we're seeking, whatever pleasure we're looking to find, can be found within this mantra. Actually, sorry. Yeah. The easiest thing is to actually on the floor. Yeah, we all want to be happy, we don't want to be miserable. So, by chanting this mantra, we can derive whatever pleasure, whatever happiness we're looking for. And this mantra is also, by the way, the word mantra, just in case you're not familiar with that word, the word mantra, it's 2 words, man and tra. So man is referring to the mind, and tra is quite easy to remember because it's the first 3 letters of transcendence. So the idea is that when you chant a mantra, it transcends the mind to the spiritual realm. It takes it, it brings it on a journey to the spiritual realm, away from this material realm like that. This particular mantra is known as the Maha Mantra. And Maha means great or topmost, like that. And the reason this is known as the greatest, topmost mantra to chant is because there are unlimited mantras. There is no end to the amount of mantras that there are. And we could get some of the devotees here to start chanting different mantras, and we could go on all evening, all day tomorrow. We could go on for the rest of our lives chanting different mantras. Well, until we run out of ones that we actually know, but then we could get the books and we could read them from the books. Mantras are unlimited. And they all bring you incredible benefit, spiritual benefit. But this one is known as the Maha Mantra, the great mantra, because when you chant this mantra, all the other mantras are contained within this mantra. So all the benefit that you get from all of those unlimited mantras that exist, you get all of that benefit by just chanting this mantra. So, and it's also good fun to chant it. Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
because this is slippy with the harmonium. So you're trying to do the bellows, but you're trying to keep it in place at the same time. It's really strange. Okay. Such is life. That's the nature of this world we live in, you know. There's always some complication and some difficulty. So, Hare Krishna, welcome everybody to the Copenhagen Sunday feast. And just as we were speaking before we started chanting about it being a love feast and the mantra and the word Ram meaning the reservoir of all pleasure, because we all want to be happy. Is there anybody who wants to be sad? Does anybody wake up in the morning and think to themselves, I hope I have an absolutely horrible day today and everything goes wrong? You know, I lose my house, I lose my family, I lose my whatever. We don't think like that. We all want to be happy. And the Vedic scriptures, of which I have one in front of me, the Bhagavad Gita, probably the most famous actually of the Vedic scriptures. But in the Vedas, there's one little statement in Sanskrit. That mantra, by the way, again for people who are here for the first time, that mantra is in the Sanskrit language. And the Sanskrit language is known as the language of the gods. And it's also known as the most ancient language that's available to us. And that's something that you won't just hear Hare Krishna people saying, but that's something that's accepted throughout the whole linguistic and academic world, that the Sanskrit language is the oldest language that we have access to. All the other languages, the ancient ones, Greek, Latin, etc., they all stem from Sanskrit. So in that language, there's one little aphorism that says, Ananda Mayo Vyasat. And the translation into English of that phrase is that every single living entity is eternally, so not just temporarily, but eternally pleasure-seeking. They're seeking pleasure, they're seeking happiness. We're all seeking that. It's something that we all universally have in common, that we all are seeking happiness. And like I said, Prabhu called it the Sunday Love Feast. And of course, love is a topic that is also universal and discussed and expressed by many, many people. Famous songs, All You Need Is Love, meaning that that's all you need, all you actually need is love, like that. And it's true, that is all you need. And we all know that both when we receive love, when we know that somebody cares for us, like that it makes us feel happy, it makes us feel good. And also when we share, when we actually give love to other people, likewise, it's something that makes us feel good and feel happy like that. Because we're all seeking that, and we're, as I say, we're all eternally pleasure-seeking living entities. It's just how we seek it, in what form we seek it, and what form we find it, that will it give us, because we're eternally pleasure-seeking, that's the kind of key word, that will the love that we find give us that eternal requirement, or that eternal pleasure that we're actually seeking. And therefore, these Vedic scriptures, they advise that we should seek love on that eternal platform. And it's a very simple reason why we should do that, because we're eternal. And there's no point, if we're actually eternal, getting something that only lasts for a certain period of time. By definition, it can only satisfy us for that short period of time. And also, it can't really even do that, because if we analyse the word eternal, if you look it up in the Oxford English Dictionary, or the Danish English Dictionary, if there's such, well, maybe there isn't, the Danish Dictionary, if you look it up in Danish, whatever, what's the Danish word for eternal? Okay, so if you look up that word in the Danish Dictionary, it will probably say the same as the Oxford English Dictionary, which says that it means without beginning and without end. Actually, growing up as a Catholic, my understanding from what I learnt in school, etc., was that the Christian understanding or the Catholic understanding is that your existence begins when you're born, but then you last forever, you're eternal. But the Vedas don't say that. They say, no, there was never a time when we did not exist. nor will there ever be a time when we will not exist in the future. So that's the definition of eternal. So if you then try to put a figure on that, you can't actually put a figure on it, but we can have a little bit of fun trying to put a figure on it. So if you take 1 billion years, or trillion actually, I know someone said something quadzillion to me today as another measurement of time. I wasn't aware of the quadzillion measurement. So if we take the measurement of 1 trillion, and if you take 1,000 trillion years and multiply it by another 1,000 trillion years, so you're going to get into the quadzillions then, that is not even the flick of an eye in the context of eternity. It actually makes no measurement in the context of eternity, because eternity means forever. So no temporary measurement will have any impact on eternity. So therefore, any temporary arrangement of pleasure, any temporary arrangement of love, won't actually satisfy the soul. The soul requires something more than that. And that's why we chant these mantras, because it brings us to the spiritual platform. And it's only on that eternal spiritual platform that we can actually achieve that thing that we're all craving for, even if we don't know we're craving for it. But I think most of the people sitting here would probably agree that we're all craving for that. That's the only platform that you can find it on. Because we're eternal means, the Sanskrit phrase that's given is Sat Chit Ananda. So that means we're eternal, we're full of knowledge, and we're full of bliss. And it's a good word, bliss, it's a nice word, and we're full of that. Temporary, on the other hand, means temporary, but this world that we live in, rather than being full of knowledge, is actually, it has knowledge, but it also has a lack of knowledge. There's so many things we don't know. For instance, I've just come from the room that I'm staying in. Okay? Now, I left that room. I don't know what's going on there now. Someone could be in that room now and doing whatever they're doing. I have no idea. It's only up there. It's only like 2 minutes walk away. But I have no idea what's going on in that room because my eyes can't see through walls. We can only hear a certain distance. We can only touch and reach and feel certain things like that. We're limited in our ability to take in knowledge and understand things. But in the spiritual realm, we're full of knowledge. We're fully cognizant of everything all the time. And not only that, but it's not just human forms, it's all forms in the spiritual world. And we're full of bliss. Now again, there is some happiness that we experience in this material world. It's not that we don't experience any happiness at all. But we also experience a lot of, let's say, lack of happiness, a lot of suffering too. It's interesting being here in Copenhagen, because growing up as a child, Copenhagen was associated with Hans Christian Andersen. That's the main thing that always comes to a foreigner's mind when you think of Denmark, when you think of Copenhagen, Hans Christian. And it's a beautiful, mystical, magical kind of thing, Hans Christian Andersen, or at least that's as I would understand it. I couldn't really know any of his stories. There was the Three Ducklings. Was that one of Hans Christian Andersen? The Ugly Duckling, that was his. Okay. There's another one, wasn't it? Anyway, but anyway, it's mystical and magical for a child. That's the perception that you perceive as mystical and magical. So I came to Copenhagen a few days ago, and we nearly didn't land at the airport because the wind was so strong, and people were literally, there was a few people kind of yelping on the plane. You always know that there's a bit of a problem when people start getting a little hysterical on airplanes, So the perception I have of Copenhagen is this is a mystical, magical place, but then when I'm coming into land, you nearly get killed, So that's the nature of the material world. Like I said, playing the harmonium, chanting Hare Krishna, and all I'm thinking about is my arm is getting sore from trying to hold it in place and do the bellows. So it's the nature of the material world that there is happiness, but it's mixed with a lot of other stuff too. And the example that you'll find in these books sometimes, one example you'll find, is it's described that it's like, well, let's put a modern analogy on it. It's like a milkshake. How many people in the room have had milkshake, and how many people in the room like milkshake?